We have traveled a long way and have seen many curiosities, but none as perplexing as a planet we stumbled upon called Earth.
I saw a praise of the new 1439 was done in 1492. Please, time ain't nothing new. A little nut was day 3, really only 2. Sun's bright, say he went there last year. It was past Wednesday at 2:52 afternoon. Sun giant still walking. Seen the EK? End up staked up on steel plates. If fours don't wake from the dream state, it's season for the meal. T-Rex for the pets, we take thigh or the heel. Take time, we laugh now. Skip my tape. Fours don't wake from the dream state, it's season for the meal. T-Rex for the pets, we take thigh or the heel. Take time, we laugh now. Skip my tape. Have a field day. Big jaw stop for 2 feet, permanent fences, who's playing with your cool feet. Parade can't go 50 for 2 keys. 2 elect stepping, each side, everything jump high if you quick for you just stomp. Looking like a 2-cent stamp, length and width of land of the Nile.
Sons of God and daughters of earth in the flesh. This is no myth, research the legends of Gilgamesh. Preserve human skull fossils, surprise. Scientists and archaeologists know all my kids are life-size. Keep my ancestors' giant femur bones in museums. Titans fighting Tyrannosaurus Rex in Greek Colosseums. Slap pterodactyls out the air, riding thesaurus. Walking, leaving footprints in granite floors. Advocating for baths, resisting Christian doctrine. First eye high beams when sight is locked in. We are not speaking elephantitis or giantism. Look us up, we found in journals in Hinduism. Similar stories told in multiple cultures. Sumerians 12-foot axes for agriculture. Grapes, 4 in the hand, watermelon size onions. Jack size beanstalks, not Goliath or Bunyan. Minds can't grasp giant wasp and Cyrus. Sidon Trident was fought by 3 giant cyclops. With 1 eye, get your head, sons of man, Heckelum. Claiming Canaanite mates us, Enoch, Nephilim.
A giant's born, noticed at birth within large forms in such a way statues from back in the day were actually the norm, able to perform feats with large blocks of concrete and carving in diorite, ensuring facial features right and heights A+. Bones is what we trust to say dinosaurs exist, then human giants must. A lust for information has encouraged many chasing forms of evidence like ancient documents and footprints. My logic is what makes sense. There's no defense to ideas, just what is and is not clear. Then I hear some say it was an exaggerated way in which they represented. An artist intended simply to represent the personas with the idea of great. And in that endeavor, they cleverly chose to elaborate. Rarely invest in the major state perspective and objective. Yes, I think it feel the real and promote proof in our own.
Giants aren't scary. Not even their terrifying leader, a monstrous giant with 2 heads.
Keep reading, Mother. It's just a story.
Is it?
We a murder in the beat. Red flag, wave it. Red tag, save it. Red green, what that means? Moorish lands, bourbon. Who got claim Elbit? Not the name MJ. Lushy green was the porcelain, all pristine and so awful. Know thyself, the father from my eye capstone. Rip the ground, we put it back to top. See some real engineering, really no engineering. Blackstone from the next planet. Still you have no soul, just a stick faggot. Batman still up in the cave, he got some sick gadgets. Nigga rich run a whole city with no power till apocalypse now. In the door of coward. Red flag make a 7 as it rains. The flag above made that has waved. Self from here to save. I'm an all-man, got a lot of lip. Chapped up to say back up. You see the red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what I mean, Moorish land bourbon. Who got the name Elvin? Not the name MJ. Lushy green was the porcelain, all pristine and so forth. Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what that mean, Moorish land bourbon. We got claim Elvin, not the name MJ. Lush and green was the force of some obscene, some cordial.
Our value representation, this flag represents a nation. Collecting information, tracing our roots, not chasing, pacing our progress, doing more, saying less. Black, white, gray, MSF, RBG in our breath. The depth of what we do is best presented by how we grew. What's true is ear, the beholder to answers question over. Some call it closure, I prefer to say we open since we're still scoping for knowledge and others now revoking. Open little to not, prefer work, plan, plot, strategize to maximize the probability. We saw caught between honor and a small place. The decisions that we make, ripple effects, minor or great, still I appreciate.
Flag waving, red tax saving. Red green, what I mean, Moorish land bourbon. Who got the claim Elvin? Not the name MJ. Lush and green was the force of all pristine and support. Red flag waving, red tax saving. Red green, what that mean, Moorish land bourbon. We got claim Elvin, not the name MJ. Lush and green was the force of some obscene, some cordial.
50,000-year-old ancestral claiming, flag in the ground, hear the flapping fabric sound. Red for the bloodshed or celestial realms. When all you see is fezzes and turbans, be overwhelmed. Standing on the squares, independent and fearless. From lower self to higher self, with no interference. 5-point star is her. We call her Venus. My niggas are Nagas, impropriate persona genius. In 3, 5, or 7 plus. Whenever you see us, Moorish national disciples, Prophet Ali and Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius. The same frequencies preceding all man-made religions. Displaying decency, seek teaching of the ages. The heart is where the life is. Osiris is Orion, Horus, Mars, Sirius, Isis. Clear conceptions of your work during a crisis. Rep my flag till I'm dust or the husk is lifeless. Rep my flag, red, green, 5-point star, no gold fringes. Stand on my square. No liberty infringes, no rights violated, no Negroes emancipated. All they know is castrated and decapitated. Red flag. 5-point star. Red flag.
Red tax saving. Red green, what I mean, Moorish land bourbon. Who got claim Elvin? Not the name MJ. Lush and green was the force of all pristine and support. Red flag waving. Red tax saving. Red green, what I mean, Moorish land bourbon. We got claim Elvin. Not the name MJ. Lush and green was the force of some obscene, some cordial. Turban.
This that new bitch.
Tell you shit numbers though. I don't like counting now. I like counting stuff.
Pro bono, publico, pro facto, pro indefenso. We that 2 things tramp on top of B-Mac. Sounds like an E-flat. Quattro doors, ablaze with my circle. They hold my seat, ergo kings back. But not that high. I'm a bee, but I'm not that fly. Bugging you, I'm not that kind. Look like a mean mug, what did that do? Try to relax. Let your feet hover, fall off your path at the least structure. I didn't mean that. You said you needed intensive care. I got the weed back, cocked 10 bags of your head. You said you need that. With the tail, I brought the whole steed. Giddy up, wasn't funny. What you call money? Bring the green back, but greed was always left intact. Popeye, pro bono, at Malo, pro indefenso, pro falso.
Bono, progress need no promo. Brainwashed by TV programs. No, proclaim lower self, project higher than rockets. Profound like fork tongues and sockets. Protection lacking, project in a direction away from blacking or be lacking. In a zombie procession, most profession keep you from progressing. Denying due processing. Prosecutor wants no impropria persona. In full life or obia. Prodigal son, nautical, astronomical one. All pro, never implausible, cause probable. Proactive, not passive. Mind's captive, problem. Children angry and hyperactive. Needs more probiotic. Pro-black is pro-death. I'm pro-seeds and process. Pro-democracy, Moors keep me perplexed. Not hearing innocence, Kirkman Bay's Moors profess. Seeking no Moors in the back with no protest. Spiritual work is in progress.
Speaking pro is best, a point I emphasize, no stress. Meaning attend to what is or is to be, but it's not less. Communications and tests and verbally I express my progress and high probability for profit we opt to get. Opportunities that set our plots in check. To apply the domino effect, a story connects. More important than the past project, hence we document to step correct when we reflect. Plus self-respect to the template's real and focus on growth. This is what it is, and we use the theme in this verse, so take note. I proactively promote the quotes that I wrote when enlightened, stimulating my state to be one more great from inciting affirmations that heighten implementation and writing. Healthy reminders inciting the calm and minded to fighting, or more like a dance, the mental train. Know what I'm saying? Like Coach Nim said, it's all for the weak that we blame.
Pro bono, publico, pro facto, pro indefenso.
Pro bono, progress need no promo. Brainwashed by TV programs, no
Speaking pro is best, my progress project. This that new bitch.
Tell them shit, numbers though. I don't like counting now. I like counting stuff.
Pro bono, publico, pro facto, pro indefenso. We that do things tramp on top of B man. Sounds like an E flat. Quattro doors, ablaze with my circle. Involve my C circle. Wings back, but not that high. I'm a B, but I'm not that fly. Bugging you, I'm not that kind. Look like a mean mug, what did that do? Try to relax. Let your feet hover, fall off your path at the least structure. I didn't mean that. You said you needed intensive care. I got the weed back, cocked 10 bags of your head. You said you need that. With the tail, I brought the whole steed. Giddy up, wasn't funny. What you call money? Bring the green back, but breathe. It's always left intact. Papa, pro bono, et malo, pro indefenso, pro bono.
Progress need no promo. Brainwashed by TV programs, no. Proclaim lower self, project higher than rockets. Profound like fork tongues in sockets. Protection lacking, project in a direction away from blacking or be lacking. In a zombie procession, most profession keep you from progressing. Denying due processing. Prosecutor wants no impropria persona. In full life for obia. Prodigal son, nautical, astronomical one. All pro, never plausible, cause probable. Proactive, not passive. Minds captive, problem. Children angry and hyperactive. Needs more probiotic. Pro-black is pro-death. I'm pro-seeds and process. Pro-democracy, Moors keep me perplexed. Not hearing innocence, Kirkman Bay's Moors profess. Seeing no Moors in the back with no protest. Spiritual work is in progress.
Speaking pro is best, a point I emphasize, no stress. Meaning attend to what is or is to be, what's not less. Communications and tests and verbally I express my progress and high probability for high that we opt to get. Opportunities that set our plots in check. To apply the domino effect, a story connects. More important than the past project, hence we document this step correct when we reflect. Plus self-respect to the template's real and focus on growth. This is what it is, and we use the theme of this verse, so take note. I proactively promote the quotes that I wrote when enlightened, stimulating my state to be one more great from inciting affirmations that heighten implementation and writing. Healthy reminders inciting the calm and minded to fighting, or more like a dance, the mental train. Know what I'm saying? Like Coach Nim said, it's all for the weak that we blame.
Pro bono, publico, pro facto, pro indefenso.
Pro bono, progress need no promo. Brainwashed by TV programs, no.
Speaking pro is best, my progress project. I proactively promote the quotes that I wrote.
Woo! That was a good startup. That was a good startup. So, we just got to put it on the record. We just got to put it on the record that Toronto is immortalized. Remember, Toronto is an indigenous word, so don't think about, the BS about some corporation called Toronto or whatever. City of Toronto. Toronto is an indigenous word. Look it up. Toronto is immortalized with the death of Kobe Bryant because he dropped the 81 on Toronto, which is 9, which is mother. So let's get going. Let's get going. In honor of Kobe Bryant,
which is 9.
Dropping 81
on the helicopter.
Dropping 81 on the Raptors. and immortalizing us, because now you have to pay attention now. You have to pay attention now. We already told you that this is the meeting place. This is what it's all about. Party is here. The central point of consciousness in the body of land called the Americas. Toronto is the pineal gland of that. And now we're immortalized because dude dropped 81 on us. But don't forget, we're the champs. What if he didn't drop the 81 and we didn't become champs? Because the up and coming god of the, the NBA world, he didn't do his job and, give us 81. That you have to hit the lowest low. Do you know how whack we felt that he dropped 81 on our team? But now that he's gone, we'll hold that 81. Thank you, Kobe, for dropping 81 on the Raptors. Thank you. And just go check. You'll see that the Raptors have the 5 and the 2 up right now, celebrating their 25th year. And they're going to say, all right, 25 years. And they're going to use hands making a 2 and a 5. And then the only other people who do anything with their hands, the 2 and a 5, are Moors.
Yep.
You still think that this is not where it's at? You still think that, just like the mother said years ago, the boat has left the dock. We're not waiting for you people. This thing's already locked down. Either you're on board with it or perish. So we're immortalized right now because he dropped the 81 on us. And the 81 was a record in that world. Don't forget, the champs are here too. Don't forget. Didn't drop 81 on the champs, but we're the champs right now because we had to hit the lowest low. Man dropped 81 on us.
Yep.
To reach the highest high. It's all metaphysics. Born again. Born again and became champions.
Great. Now, let's look at that, Gracie. Because if he didn't drop the 81, you know how sports are. That 81 makes you. Now the Raptors have to start looking at stuff differently. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure if he dropped 81 that year, Raptors wasn't doing too good. So they ended up getting good draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The beginning, new birth.
It was all part of the
ritual. 81.
Yep.
Now y'all get to start fresh, hungry. You know what I mean? Because of the 81. All started from the 81. Now we get to get some players. We get to get some new life in here. That's the number 9 coming from 81. From the beginning, mother. Yeah. Like that all. Because I'm like, no, that's serious. If he didn't drop the 81 and make the Raptors look like a horrible team, now y'all get good draft picks after that. Because I'm pretty sure y'all had a sucky record. Now you're getting good draft picks. That's new life, new beginning. All from the 81. Starts from the 81.
Which is 9, which is mother.
Yep.
Honors to all the mothers. Honors to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali for, doing what he did. Doing what he did to get us to this place where we can officially say that we've made it. That we've actually made it. Honors to all the Moors who know that they're Moors, who know that they're Els, Bays, Days, Als, or Alis, and they're in line with what Noble Drew Ali left. Islam to all Moors who stay studying just because whatever it is, whether it's metaphysics, whether it's self, whether it's whatever. Once you're studying, you're there. Again, Islam to all the mothers. Without you, we wouldn't be here. Simple and plain. We wouldn't be here without you. There's no us without mother. So honors to all the mothers. And shame on you to you sons who are playing games. All you sons who are playing games, playing this patriarchal game, playing this don't want to elevate the mother, when that's the duty of Moors. Because she's unconscious. She doesn't know herself. Like we're talking about, all you can do is drop a seed. You're not going to do anything that somebody doesn't want to do. If they have an itch in their head and they don't want to scratch it, who are you? Scratch their itch. Let's make it better. Their ass is scratching. And they want you to scratch their ass. No, scratch your own ass. There's no choices. There's one way. There's only one way that it is. And that's what was laid down for us to be back in the position where we're not, you know, the guys who got 81 dropped on us.
I forgot that was y'all.
Well, we're gonna talk about it because that's our honors right now. We're turning that frown upside down. In honor of Kobe Bryant, we turn the frown upside down. Thanks for the 81, yep. Bro. Thanks for the 81. And yep. Peace and big up to Jalen Rose, who got it.
Yep.
We're holding that now. Bring it. Talk about that. Please talk about that. Show that. Show that game. We're going to upload the game. We're going to go find the game. We're going to upload the game.
So we dropped 81.
We're gonna upload the game. Look for it. In honor of Kobe Bryant when he dropped 81 on the Raptors. Yeah. You know what I mean? No rest in peace, because we already read chapter 4. We are laughing for you, brother. We're laughing for you, and we know why you took her with you out of this BS. We know. Man is spirit, not the flesh, and always has greater work to do once his work on the soul plate is done. Oh yeah, and give us thanks to Tracy Grady too. We're telling everybody, telling the world that, you know, Kobe always said he wanted to die young. So
I know that hurt it. I know they try to traumatize him for that.
Oh, that hurt.
That
hurt. That hurt him. That hurt him.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, why'd they say it? Why'd he say it? Oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? Oh well, let's just see what happens. Okay, nothing happened because these people are dumbasses, and we got them locked, stock, and barrel. They're gonna still be buying sneakers. Matter of fact, they're gonna buy more sneakers right now or whatever like that, and Kobe shirts and all that stuff. Well, fun is going to them and stuff like that. But we can't buy a school. we need to go talk about get whatever donations on some stuff to have a school.
Mm-hmm.
Playing.
Mm-hmm.
Playing. All these people playing. All these people playing.
We're going to bring that up. We're going to bring that, because those are the rocks that were thrown. So we're going to bring that up too.
Yep. Everybody wanna decipher some death as some type of whatever numerology, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
Point of the matter, people are playing. The hell you talking about? There's a cartoon of it 2 years ago, and you're not looking at stuff weird? You're a dumbass? Simpsons came out and said Trump, whatever. Everybody, oh my gosh, blah. Cartoon came out and said Kobe died in a helicopter crash 2 years ago, and no, yeah, we're elephant in the room. I don't see that. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. They're not to decipher. People are playing games with you. And if somebody deciphers something that comes up to some type of whatever to make you have a eureka moment and all that stuff, then that's just extra proof that these people are playing with you. Because it means that everything's been orchestrated to happen. And if they have it locked down like that they could get Kobe Bryant out of here, I mean, it's not nothing new. They got people out of here before. No big deal. Just never thought it would be your golden boy. But then again, don't forget, you can't forget, what about the ritual that he said that he wanted to die young? So what? Why are you mad? Why are you hating? Why are you mourning and crying and all that stuff? You're gonna die young. What didn't you get? Or what don't you get? He said, I want to die young. He died young. Everybody's mourning and they're sad about something. The hell are you sad about?
Power and imagination. Tell them that all the time.
What's the mourning and stuff for? Shouldn't we be celebrating that he prophesied something and then it manifested?
Yep.
Oh no! You just want to do with highlights and the basketball stuff, and you don't want to talk about the fact that he called his own stuff, which you have to stop and think about it, because damn, if all he had was women around him, and then behind every strong man is a woman, and then if he had only women around him, it would help him get his job done, which his job was really to inspire people, and based on the people who knew him, not the guy who's sitting next to him at the basketball game talking about, oh yeah, I know Kobe Bryant because I'm sitting next to him in the basketball game because I'm just here because I bought a ticket. But look at me in the picture with Kobe Bryant because he died now. But yesterday, or 2 weeks ago, or whatever, you didn't put up the picture of you with Kobe Bryant. How come when he dies, now you want to put up pictures about stuff? How come when Kobe started talking about, oh yeah, he prophesied his own death or whatever like that, and really, I'm just tripping right now because this shit actually happened. Like it actually manifested. And then they're going to cut off that talk and they're going to start talking about some other stuff about, has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
Because they know they have to ride. They know they have to ride. They have to ride this, and they're gonna ride this. Grammys wrote it. Freaking Rock Nation, freaking Party whatever wrote it. Anything interesting happening right now that happened yesterday? Like all those things were set up to happen on that day.
Yep.
Including the death happening on that day. Because regardless of what There's no way man's flying into a mountain just because he doesn't know how to fly. But everybody knows Kobe been in helicopters flying for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, you know, there's a cartoon of him dying in a helicopter crash, but we're not going to talk about that. We'll just leave that alone.
Yep. Yep.
We're just going to leave that alone. We'll let the decipherers do their stuff with that. But we're going to say...
I remember, too, Supreme Bay, the ex-NBA player, he gave us clues about Kobe, saying Kobe was smart. Kobe wasn't stupid. Kobe was smart. Kobe knew more than the average person.
Mm-hmm.
He was giving us clues, like, Kobe might be knowing, you know, who we really are as a people. Like, Kobe wasn't stupid. I mean, he may not have told it, you know what I mean? But according to the Supreme Bay, that man wasn't I just know basketball. Like, he wasn't like that. He wasn't, according to the Supreme Bay. That's why, as soon as I saw it, I was like, man, I wonder what Supreme thinking. The NBA player.
For real. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, but at the same time, it's sane. It's real weird. Real weird. Strange things are happening. Strange.
Yeah, a lot. I told you earlier. I said, yo, Grand Sheik is crazy. A lot of people's music, new singles came out, music videos came out. A lot of stuff happened.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happened. I was like, man, this is different. All this stuff happening. You know, they got the Corona beer virus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Corona beer virus. Virginia. We were just talking about that. The people out there, so-called Virginia, are marching for gun rights right now or whatever. Bunch of stuff happening.
Yeah.
Bunch of stuff. It's crazy.
No, it is what it is.
Dirty Moore saying the prophet was patriarch. So a lot going on.
Yeah, let's deal with this. Let's deal with this right here. Because it's interesting when you see other Moors' perspective in dealing with people who are challenging whatever subject matter is presented by active Moors, right? We presented before, you know, the concept of the matriarchy and the idea that as Moors, it's about honor mother. And that's the only way it is. Now, we came up under a different body of Moors than average Moors. So the body of Moors that we were studying under were directly telling us to go study. They didn't tell us listen to them. They told us go study.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't say, oh, I have a book, buy my book so you can learn whatever. Or I have a class, come to my class so I can teach you whatever like that. And if they did do that, when you go there, they're going to tell you go study. So our approach with regard to Noble Drew Ali and what he brought for the Moors is not that boxed in Moor Science Temple member that doesn't deal with sovereignty type of Moors. We are open-minded individuals. We are not concrete in our thinking. So we're extremely flexible with regard to how it is we understand, and overstand these lessons that were presented to us. This is why you always see that with our channel isn't specific to an individual giving you information. We take other people's videos and upload them because everybody has a part to play once they're vibrating on the right frequency. And the right frequency for us are the Moors who brought us up. There's no other frequency than that. And the Moors who brought us up weren't some BS Moors. The Moors who brought us up weren't some merely temple Moors. There were Moors who were part of the temple. There were Moors who were heads of temples that brought us up. There were Moors who were very open to even hearing what it is that we're finding out. Like they're taking the information that we present to them and then they're taking it and presenting it as well. Because truth doesn't need a name put to it. It's called truth. Truth doesn't need a name behind somebody said. Once this is the truth, that's all that matters. Where it came from is irrelevant. So we're really cut from a different cloth with regard to the Moorish paradigm, and then people seeing it and wanting to know what it's about. And then they always seem to look at temple Moors who are just in Moor Science Temple, and that's it. And they don't delve into any other information. Everything else that they hear is in violation of the Prophet. Because only one knows what Ali said is what is the word or whatever. That's Christianization. That's mental manipulation. Because once you study, you realize what it is that this man brought. And it will be so clear and precise to you that it would force you to not take BS from these people when they start talking crazy. And you not thinking that, oh, well, if I say something, it's me against my brother or my sister, so I don't want to get into back and forth with the... No, those are dirty Moors. What you mean? You know that they're traitors. What do you mean brother and sister when they're a traitor? And all you have around you right now is traitors. And the traitors are doing exactly what it is Noble Drew Ali said that they're going to do. Sell you right back into slavery. And then your dumbass is thinking slavery like some type of ship or something. Some European psychology you think slavery is. When slavery is these people controlling your mind. Islam more.
Islam.
I don't know if you have anything to add before we go through some of these messages that was left.
I mean, it can go before it or after. You know, I just wanted to read this. I just started off.
Yeah.
Right. In the book Goddess Symbols, Universal Signs of Divine Female by Claire Gibson, on page 8, right? It's the chapter of Symbols of the Goddess. It says, for those of a Western mindset. Now, to clarify Western mindset, we know that the Western ideology, that's Eurocentric thinking. So when she's saying for those of a Western mindset, she's saying Eurocentric thinking, because they started that Western whatever paradigm crap. So for those of a Eurocentric mindset who have been educated in the patriarchal systems of belief that have prevailed for centuries, and they require a great leap of imagination to understand why a goddess, rather than a god, should have been accorded such an unequivocal position of primary importance in the mystical beliefs of our ancestors. Like, that's like the whole, like, just to start it off, like, if you thinking that the patriarchal system is what it was, that's Eurocentric thinking. Because the ancients, our ancestors, knew it was always the primary source of the mother goddess. Like, that's what it was. Like, this ain't, don't argue. That's why I like to read out of the book. Yeah. I didn't write this. Yeah. You gotta argue with Claire Gibson. Don't say Brother Yusuf said it or Canaanland. No. Claire Gibson is clarifying. That's a Eurocentric mindset who have been educated in the patriarchal systems. That's where that comes from. That's where that comes from, because that's not real. All right, let me just read a little bit more. It says, yet her supreme status is in fact perfectly logical. In an era in which virtually nothing was known about human biological process, women's mysterious lunar regulated menstrual cycles, as well as their awesome, apparently autonomous ability to give birth to new life, were perceived as proof of their magical powers. Men, by comparison, seemed virtually impotent, for it was then not even remotely suspected that they played a part in the conception and reproduction of human life. That's how our ancestors thought. Like they already knew that the men doesn't have anything to do with creating life. Like, that's all the women. That's what our ancestors knew and thought.
Yeah, all the time. And check how serious they freaking played that people are looking at impotence as the sexual whatever not working, but the real impotence is man not being able to create life.
Right. Yep.
Man is the impotent.
Yep.
Like, not what the man does is the impotent. She is potent. Man is impotent. You know how crazy that is? Those are the ones that hurt.
Yep.
Those are the ones that hurt. Those are the ones that get those Moors mad and have them talking crazy against mother.
Yep. And like the brother Navi said, I was just thinking that brings correlative to potentate.
Yeah.
Mother is potent. Man is impotent. Mother is potentate, supreme ruler. Mother is not man, mother. Claire Gibson. Don't argue with. That's what I'm saying. Don't argue with the
Don't
Moors.
argue with mother.
Gibson's telling you.
Don't argue with mother. Had to be a mother. Oh, and Navi said it's Sister Navi.
Oh, forgive me. I forget. And I knew that. It just slipped my mind. I knew that. I did know that. I got corrected. Your mother always corrects me. She already corrected me before. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Forgive me. She already corrected me before. I remember being corrected.
Oh, snap. Killing me.
See? Mothers don't play. They don't play. They don't play.
Right, so the first thing was where is it? At Yusuf, obey, verb, 1300, Obian, carry out the commands of someone, submit to, be ruled by, from all French, obey, be obedient, do one's duty. From Latin, obediere, obey, be subject, serve, pay. Now, what was that in reference to when he was talking about giving you some definition of obey? And what was your perspective that he missed in reading obey relative to the patriarch? And because we're talking about obey because he was talking about Act 7 in the divine constitution, and it's saying that mother must obey her husband.
Right. Okay. Now that came from, because like you said, he's using obey, and then the definition that he's using is the general or connotative definition. That's not the etymology definition of the word obey. Because, and I told him that, if we read the next one, I'm like, that's not the etymology definition of obey. If you look up the etymology, which is the origin of all words, if you look up the origin of the word, it'll tell you. It just means to listen. But he's using some new definition, to support those of a Western mindset who have been educated in the patriarchal system of belief. He's using that definition. He's using that definition. He's not using the etymology definition. He's not going to the ancient, to the source, where it first came from. When the Moors was ruling, teaching in all these schools. What did the word mean then? And it just means to listen. But they don't want to acknowledge that. He wants to continue on and try to find another example to try to make it seem like women are subordinate to men.
Right, and again,
doesn't acknowledge, like, okay, you're right. Obey does mean just to listen.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Like, no, we're not going to acknowledge that. We're just going to find another thing to try to figure out that women are subordinate to men. Like, come on, man. Stop. Now I can see that you're just reaching. You're starting trouble. Yeah. You're not trying to be studious and find out what's going on. No. So, like, you starting trouble. You're trying to cause confusion.
Yeah.
And that's how you cause confusion, because you're not trying. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying, brother. Oh, it doesn't say any, because my thing, you're saying it doesn't even, when you look up the etymology, it doesn't say nothing about being obedient to man, subordinate to man. I mean, being subordinate to man, being less to man. None of that. It says to listen. Just like we're all doing right now. You know what I mean? Like people, we listen. You know, that's just regular. Everybody obeys all day. That's regular. That's regular. That's regular. But this man took it and tried to make it seem as if now the woman has to do everything for man. Like that's fraudulent. Claire Gibson, for those of a Western mindset who has been educated in the patriarchal systems of belief, that's where that comes from. That's Eurocentric thinking. That's slavery. Putting Moors back into slavery. Prophet said it. Be careful, Moors. Be careful. Some of your own. That's patriarchal system of belief comes from a Western mindset. That has nothing to do with Moors. That's colonization, inquisitional thinking. Purposely done. Purposely done. And now the guys with the turban and feathers on are pushing this. Are pushing this. And Claire Gibson's telling you that comes from Europeans, who you guys say came, colonized, switched Morocco on the map, changed the map, put y'all in slavery, everything. You're using those concepts to put down our goddesses, quote unquote.
Yeah.
That's spreading confusion. That's violating Act 7. That's what that is.
And definitely Christianity mindsets, Western Christianity mindsets.
Absolutely.
You know, definitely.
To back that, here we go. Same thing, page 9. By AD 500, when the newly Christianized Roman emperors ordered the closure of the goddess temples, her destruction as the subject of an official veneration in Europe and in Egypt was complete. So just to back you, by AD 500, when the newly Christianized Roman emperors ordered the closure of the goddess temples in Europe and in Egypt was complete. It told you that the new Christianized Roman emperors did it.
So if the first temples were founded by women, then if Noble Drew Ali is saying Moorish Science Temple, what's he taking this back to? What's he really trying to invoke? It's like certain people invoke, I want to die young, and then died young.
Yeah, I'm not laughing at the, I'm not doing that. My great sheep be going in, that's what I'm laughing at.
Yeah.
That's what I'm laughing at.
Right? Mother. You cannot get around it. The Moorish Science Temple. Temples were founded by Mother. Temples, mounds, whatever you want to call it, megalithic structure, all those stuff were in honor of Mother. Right. Now, someone brought up the 101 questionnaire in the chat. Do you think the 101 questionnaire has a particular structure as far as a timeline? Well, if we say 1 to 13, Actually, 1 to 14. 1 to 14 is Noble Drew Ali, the temple, the purpose, and an introduction as to who you are. 1 to 14. Right. 15 is getting into the science and the history, right? The 5 points representing, the 5 principles. The name of the religion that we never heard of before. The fact that it's not something modern that he's making up. It's the old-time religion. The historical aspect with the flag being 10,000 years old. Right? Like what timeline is that? 10,000 years old. Well, 10,000 years old from when? Because he wanted to keep this vast. This is not shallow. This is deep.
Wow.
Right? 14, so 15 to 29. 15 to 29 is another timeline. So you have, don't look at the timeline as year, date, or whatever. Look at the timeline as temple, Drew Ali, Moroccan flag, Fez, charter. Look at the timeline as the things in the timeline, not the time, because it says timeline. Forget the time. Even though he gives you something in there, but again, if he's talking about the time of the temple being founded 1913, then he's talking about the time of our flag 10,000 years old. That's a vast gap. 10,000 years from 19 something is vast, right? Use your common sense, right? 30 to 35 is even one timeline, dealing with the Moroccan Empire and the history of the Moroccans. Right? That's its own timeline, right? 35 to 37 is one timeline, dealing with Jesus. Right? 38 to 42 is a different timeline. We deal with this, the whole concept of the prophet. And what is a prophet? And why is there even one sent? Um, 43 to 46, again, a Jesus timeline. 47 to 51, metaphysical timeline, talking about truth and Allah and art and the holy breath. What are these things being talked about for? For you to go do your research and study. That's why he said go study. That's why this is called Science Temple, which science means study. So for people to claim that they're Moorish Science Temple or whatever, and they don't study, they're not talking like active Moors, they're not Moorish Science Temple because they're not studying. Obviously, they're not Moorish Science Temple because they're not studying. We're just telling you, we're telling you right now what's the hidden messages inside the 101 questionnaire that you're going to go study and you're going to find out what those hidden messages are. Because this 4-page book can't be it. That this can't be it. There's no way that this man is an Egyptian adept and then this is all. You never had no library at his house or whatever? Give people a book list with books that they should go get or nothing like that? Just get them this only. And then that's it. There was these 4 books, and then these people are going around parading around with these 4 books, and then people looking like them like a dumbass, and they don't want nothing to do with Moors, because obviously these guys are on some religious whatever, because they're trying to tell me some book when I got a library at my house. Well, we don't really know. No, Matrilineal didn't bring that and talking all that stuff. Right? My perspective is that the 101 questionnaire is an encyclopedia. It's not a booklet to you to learn something. All it's giving you is reference points. You're going to go study because there's no way that this book is it. This is just a reference point. This is just 4 pages. Anybody pushing, yeah, well, Matrilineal said study your 101 questionnaire and study your whatever. And then when you have those things to study them, you don't have any other books around you, just those, you're a dumbass. There's no way that you're going to have these 4 books that Matrilineal brought. 101 Questionnaire, Moorish Literature, Holy Quran of Moorish Science Temple, and Holy Quran, 101 Questionnaire, Moorish Literature, and Divine Constitution and Bylaws. And say that that's it. Nothing else. Just going to have those 4 books in front of me, and I'm just going to study from those books only. You're, like Taj says, you're out to lunch. Because you can't tell me you're not studying.
Yep, out to lunch.
Right? So, and again, don't let them tell you or whatever that this is some disrespect to what Matrilineal brought, because we're telling you, don't be a dumbass. Why would a 4-page book be your salvation? Why? How does that even make sense? You're supposed to be a student of all the liberal arts or whatever, and you're showing me 4 books? I go to your house and the only thing you got is a Quran, 101 Questionnaire, Moorish Literature, and Divine Constitution. And you're telling me that you're a serious Moor. You're studying? And should hear what you're saying and all that? No, not just reference back to the Circle 7 and those 4 books. Outside of that as well. You're not going to take the 101 questionnaire and then go to the Holy Quran, chapter 5, and then find the answer for the chapter 5 and match it up. That's not how you're matching it up. That's Christianity. You're matching this up by going outside of the realm of the Moorish Science Temple of America and going into other schools where you could learn and find how it's relative that way. You're not limiting yourself. This is the whole point of the sellout. Keep you passive, not active. Because if you're going outside of the Moorish Science Temple of America to study, you're probably going to dress like a Moor. Right? Yes, Quran, 101 questionnaire, whatever that Moorish guide, you know, the minutes of the convention, whatever it is that was presented through Noble Drew Ali is the foundation. But the foundation isn't it. You still need windows and whatever on the stuff. Let's build a foundation and say, oh yeah, we're done. What is it? It's foundation. Foundation of a what? It's just foundation. So you're not gonna put some walls up or nothing like that. You're not gonna put a roof, basement, none of that stuff. Just gonna have a foundation just there. People have been playing you. Moorish science is everything, but Moorish science isn't limited to the walls of the Moorish Science Temple of America. That's a fraud, anybody telling you that. Anybody teaching you from the perspective of the temple is the only place that you're going to get the information to save you and what Noble Drew Ali brought, those people are playing Christianity. That's not Moorish Science Temple. That's church of whatever. That's why when you do your research, right? When you do your research, this is from an article called Think You Own Your House? Check the Deed. New York Times. Think you own your house? Check the deed. New York Times article. Right. R. Jones Bay, Grand Sheikh and moderator of the Moorish Science Temple of America, said the church had no knowledge of the deeded properties in Chicago. There have been other organizations that have been calling themselves the Moorish Science Temple of America, said Mr. Jones Bay, who is based at the temple's headquarters in Washington. We have no affiliations with them. This is a head Grand Sheikh and fake title moderator of the Moorish Science Temple of America telling these people that the church had no knowledge of deeded properties in Chicago. And we know that it's a theme. Because another one of these temple Moors, Fuqua Bay, Temple's Grand Governor of Michigan, who is familiar with the issue of claiming houses or whatever, said the church had been victimized. We've had to take people to court on identity theft. Mr. Fuqua Bay said, we have to check the system ourselves to see if people are utilizing our name. Now, these are Moorish Science Temple of America people. They're telling you about active Moors violating some whatever, causing confusion. But they're playing part and partial with the enemy. They're playing side with the corpse. That's why certain people are Grand Governor of Michigan and whatever of Washington and whatever of Baltimore, because they're a corpse. whatever of Philadelphia, they're a corpse. Especially if you go in there and you see them singing hymns and clapping to Noble Drew Ali. Definitely know that they're a corpse, a church. That's not what we're saying. That's what New York Times is saying, that they didn't refute, because I didn't see them put out anything saying New York Times is wrong. We didn't say that we're a church. So if they're going to say that the Moorish Science Temple, again, which temple means mother, because the first creators, founders of temples was mother. She built those. Mother. So for them to take church and use that in that form, knowing that they're Moorish Science Temple of America, right? They have a regency, and they're talking about headquarters. Our headquarters in Washington? What do you mean your headquarters? Like, why aren't you calling it regency? Oh, because they're part of put you right back into slavery that Noble Drew Ali was telling you to watch out for. These Moors said the temple's a church, and they're taking people to court on identity theft. When Noble Drew Ali said, don't take your brother to the European courts. Noble Drew Ali said, we have muftis if we have disputes. Who's supposed to be the moderator and the mediator? We have sergeants at arms. Who would be the ones to deal with that? Not go to the European and take your brother in there. And both of you are Moors and you're taking your brother in there. Not only plaintiff looking like a sellout, but now he has the other guy looking like a sellout too, with him. Because these people already know Noble Drew Ali's lessons. These people already know Noble Drew Ali's lessons. They don't have to be convinced what's up, what we're about. But their little whoever boys that they have out here, causing confusion, telling people part and partial, when you look that up and see what comes up. Go in Google right now, put in definition of part and partial. And then when nothing comes up called that, that's a sign that these people sold you out. Because the only thing that's gonna come up is part and parcel. Why would part and parcel come up? Part and partial not come up. And then somebody's gonna redo the divine constitution and bylaws that Noble Drew Ali brought to us Moors. And they're gonna tell you part and partial, and you're gonna go with it. When you look up part and partial, nothing even comes up called that. But part and parcel does come up. Again, that's why Noble Drew Ali said study. Because only when you study would you realize that these people played you out of your stuff. And you're sitting here mad at some European. When the European has those dirty Moors in their back pocket. But you're mad at the European. But you're not mad at the puppet that they're using to play you. So you can be mad at the European thinking that that's where your anger is supposed to be, when it should be against those people who are violating your birthright. By making deals to keep you away from it. Tell you that your stuff is a church. and have you run away from this because you heard a grand governor who's a representative of Moorish Science Temple of America call it a church. Why the hell would anybody go there if they're just coming from the church and they're saying, well, yo, you know, church is BS. Then they bump into some Moors and they're talking about, yeah, the church of the Moorish Science Temple is very whatever like that. You don't think people are going to say F this? And think that they have no salvation and do exactly what Noble Drew Ali told them to do, but only if they're dirty. Take off your turban and fez, go back to the state where I found you. These people are going back to the state where they were found, not because they don't have faith in the Moorish movement or what Noble Drew Ali brought, but because they bumped into some Moor who was a temple Moor and treated this like a church and made people say, nah, we don't want to hear nothing from Moors. And that passed down through the generations, through your DNA, that people don't even know why they don't want to be Moors. They just don't. I mean, you don't. Like Martin in Black Knight. I'm not a Moor. Why am I a Moor? I'm not a Moor. Don't call me Moor. That's not who I am.
They was clowning us.
Don't realize you're being clowned because your own is playing games with you.
He said, I'm starting to like this more less and less.
Yep.
But you walking around Moorished out, walking around with the green Venus, number 13 jersey, all of that.
Yep.
You are walking Moor and don't want to be it. Whole world knows you as a Moor, and you walking around denying it. Whole world.
Mm-hmm. Straight. So I hope you're clear on that. I hope you're clear on that.
Right. I'm glad you brought up that a lot of the Moors, they siding with these European. The European got a lot of these dirty Moors in their back pocket. That's the main confusion. Yeah. That's what's making the main confusion. The sellout Moors is in the back pockets of these colonizers.
And the sellouts are there. You know, they're there. Taking up a position like they're legitimate when they're not legitimate.
Calls it a church. Calls it a church. And then we got to check the record because these people are using our name. I'm like,
yeah.
What?
And they're causing confusion. No, the confusion is those people who been had it for the past 100 and something years and done nothing with it.
That statement makes it seem as if the people are black or African American.
Right.
Because that statement alone, like using your name, you got to check the church, you got to check the records because they're using your name. Okay. So that means that the people who are using it are really Negro, colored, black, African American.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're violating the prophet because the prophet said we are not Negro, colored, black, or African. But you know what I mean? Like the prophet went in on that, and you just switched it, the whole thing.
Yeah.
He said, I now declare you are a nation. This man going around talking about it's a church.
Yeah. And then Moors are looking at that like that. Oh, that ain't nothing. What do you mean that ain't nothing? The hell do you mean that is nothing?
Yeah. And then mad at the Grand Sheik because you exposing this and you should have kept this in-house and all of that.
Because I'm a Grand Sheik and I went through the chamber, and when you go through the chamber, you're not supposed to tell because Noble Drew Ali said that if you go through there, and no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I never signed up to be a Mason. And Noble Drew Ali said he took away all the secrets. So why would I have secrets for?
Yeah.
Why would I have secrets if Noble Drew Ali took away all the secrets? What secrets? Put it all out there. All these people are fraud, and they've been playing you.
Another one of the Taj lines. No one challenged the sellout.
No one challenged the sellout. That's why we started challenging the sellout, to be honest with you.
Yep. Yep.
That's why we started challenging the sellout. We said, forget, if you want to know something, go study. Why you always gotta talk about dirty Moors and whatever? Because that's the problem. Nobody challenges the sellout. The sellout sells out. And then once the sellout sells out, everybody's still going with it.
The sellout sells out. You know, that's crazy. That's exactly how it goes. The sellout sells out.
Right?
Yep, that's what he does.
There's no way that we're sellouts. Find me some sellouts, right? All the sellouts don't honor Noble Drew Ali, right? Let's put this out there again. So all these people who talk about do something and what are the Moors doing and all this stuff, right? Let's just put this out again one more time, just to be clear, right? How many Moorish science temples do you see have a coin to commemorate Noble Drew Ali and the work that their temple's doing? How many? Name one. How many? How many temples could say that they've been doing it for a decade? Having to deal with these BS trolls and all this type of stuff, all these sellouts, these dirty Moors lying on us, trying to tell us that we're not this, we're not that, or whatever. And then all those people have gone. All these people are gone, and we're still here. Still here doing the work that we've been doing. Where are they at? Can't be found. Why? Because there's not that many. There was a sellout, and people sold this out.
Yep.
That's why it's how it is right now. Because there was a sellout, and people sold this out. People with turbans and fezzes on sold this out. Forget some European. Because Europeans batting 50% with us.
Right.
Because we had 3 people give us stacks of finances as donations to the temple. And one of them was a European. We had 3 people that just went in their pocket and said, here's a wad. And one of them was a European. So don't tell me about some European. And the Asiatics who did do that, they didn't do that because of they're getting something from Canaanland Moorish temple. They just did that because they support the movement and the prophet. Has nothing to even do with Canaanland why they did that.
Yep, young and born. I appreciate them Moors. Give thanks, Islam.
They didn't do that. More didn't put down the floor at our temple. Matter of fact, they're batting 100. Because we have an upstairs and a downstairs at the temple. And a Moor put in the basement floor and a European put in the upstairs floor. The Europeans still batting more than dirty Moors. They haven't done anything. What have they done?
Telling you it's a church.
All they do is telling you it's a church.
I remember we went to Pittsburgh, European come running out the store.
Yep.
Talking about he said his nationality and he's underneath the Moorish Empire. The European come running out of the store when he saw the Moors.
When he saw Moors. Right? And again, you know what I mean? Like we're not those Moors. Like Noble Drew Ali said, don't use the name Ali. That's an exalted name. That's one of the names of Allah. Are you really, you know what I mean? Like, I can say Ali because Allah sent me. So I can say Ali. But you can't say Ali because that's exalted. Now, if Moors want to use Ali and all that stuff, I ain't hating. I mean, do your thing. You know what I mean? All I know is that.
The prophet said. The prophet said.
All I
I'm
know.
glad you bring that up because I'm starting to see more Ali's and L's and A's. I'm like, yo, everybody got an
Everybody got an
now.
Ali all of a sudden. Like, hold on a second. Like, what's going on here? You know
Ali's,
what I mean?
black feathers, everybody got a black feather.
Yep.
I was like, dang, man,
Yep.
how is this going down?
How is it going down?
I was so
going down.
amazed at the black fez. Like, it was an honor just to see the black fez. Not have one, just to see the black fez. Like, wait a minute. That's the fez.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fez right there.
Straight.
Just to see it. Everybody got one now. And I'm like, man, how?
Yep.
How? I look at that as a big honorary thing. Like, I don't have one. I'm still waiting on the whole, cultural, mothers being around. Like, okay, son, you made it. Here you go. You know what I mean? Like, if that is not happening, I'm rocking regular fezzes.
Yeah.
Regular fezzes. I need mothers to give me my crown.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. That's just, I'm like, man, when I study, I'm like, that's how it's supposed to be. Like, I know that's how it's supposed to be.
Can't be any
You're
other
not just go on Amazon and order you black fez. That's not real. That's not special. That's not a special moment.
That's no different than you go to some whoever out there to go get a nationality card because they said 25 notes or whatever.
Right.
You don't even know them. They haven't even been putting in any work for the Moors or whatever like that. You're going to them? Right?
But that's me. Again, that's me. I'm just saying me. My
your preference.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to diss nobody what they thought. You know what I mean? Because, at the end of the day, Islam to all the Moors. You already know. You a Moor. You winning. You winning.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I really take our consanguinity very special. It's special. We Moors. You know what I mean? I'm like, we Moors.
That's a big deal, yo.
Doing regular stuff.
Yeah, that's a big deal. We're Moors. We're not Negro, blacks, and coloreds. We are Moors.
Yeah, mothers and fathers of civilization.
No. So again, even on that level, we're not telling you. Don't. If you want to say that you're Ali, then you go right ahead. That's up to you. Right? That's up to you. If you want to say you want to name yourself Ali. Right? When stuff starts going messed up or whatever, it could be that.
Right.
I'm just saying. Because that's all I've seen with people who call themselves Ali. And not be able to back it up. You can't back it up, you have some stuff coming. Because it shows arrogance that you're going to call yourself Ali, knowing that only Noble Drew Ali is qualified to even say he's Ali.
Right.
Nobody else qualified to say that they're named Ali. Anybody saying that they're Ali after Noble Drew Ali, charlatan.
Right, because that's all. Yep. I love how you worded it.
Right.
Yep.
Unless their mom gave them the name Ali.
Mm-hmm.
Their mom gave them the name Ali, then that's their name. Like, that has nothing to do with Moors or whatever. You know what I mean? Their mom named them that. They didn't go proclaim anything to be that. That's what their mom named them, Ali. Then hey, your mom was onto something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Your mom was onto something if she named you Ali. But again, you're still not going to say that.
You do it now, that's ego.
Yeah.
That's straight ego. Because you just found out Ali means, I'm supreme. I'm higher than everything else.
Right.
Like, That's ego.
Because as a Moor who's coming from Negro, black, colored, you shouldn't have that much ego.
And if anything, to me, again, if there is any Alis, it should be Mother.
Mm-hmm.
Mother should be the true Alis.
Oh yeah, and then somebody said in the chat, Noble Drew Ali said, keep your name. No, Noble Drew Ali said, don't throw it away. He never told you keep it. He just said, don't throw it away. The big difference. Big difference. Because keeping is claiming, which is why you could say that you're Negro science, because you're keeping that name, but you're a dumbass. Because you know that you're not Negro, that Noble Drew Ali said that we're not Negro, but you're going to be in the chat talking about, yeah, you're the one with Noble Drew Ali or whatever, but your name's Negro. That Noble Drew Ali said you're not that. And then people are going to have you come on their platform to come talk about something relative to something when people are just out here trolls. Trolls. That's all. And again, every time we see the dead horse, we're going to hit the dead horse in the head with a bat just because.
It might move.
Just because. Just because. You know what I mean? You know it's a dead horse. You don't worry. You don't worry. Mind your business. And you don't worry about why we're beating this dead horse. You just mind your business, go study, and stop paying attention to dead horses. Because we already have the dead horse bat over here for them. Okay. Because people always like to play games. That's what they're about, play games. Right? Why are they playing games? Right? First he's a Negro, now he's claiming to be a horse now. Right? You're the blood of a dead horse. How are you a horse when you're a living sentient being? How are you a Negro when you're a living sentient being? How are you going to claim that? How is it in 2020 you're going to say, create a YouTube account, and then you're going to push create, and it's going to say name, and then you're going to put Negro. Right? And we know that we're not Negro. We know this. We're taught this. We say we honor Noble Drew Ali and all that, and they're not doing anything to rep for the Prophet. They're not doing a damn thing to rep for the Prophet. They're just out here playing games. Whether they're playing thumbs up games, whether they're playing light games, follower games, whatever game they're playing. Stay playing games. Keep playing. It's all good. Because like we said, the boat left the dock. We're on the boat watching you clowns. We're the Moors on the high road, watching you on the low road like a dumbass. And we're throwing stuff on you on the low road all day, every day, just because we can. And we know who you sellouts are, going in the news, calling Moorish Science Temple a church. And look at the difference. Look at the difference, right? Remember what we just read. We just back this up, right? R. Jones Bay, Grand Sheik and moderator of Moorish Science Temple of America, said the church had no knowledge of the deeded properties in Chicago. There have been other organizations that have been calling themselves the Moorish Science Temple of America, said Jones Bay. We have no affiliations with them. Fuqua Bay, the temple's Grand Governor of Michigan, who is familiar with the issue, said the church had been victimized. We've had to take people to court on identity theft and all this BS, right? That's their article, right?
Take people to church on identity theft.
Yeah.
I mean, take people to court on identity theft.
Yeah.
Like, what? How are you doing? So you're, like I said, so if you're doing that, you're saying that once you took that from the court for using your title, so-called, for identity theft, you're saying that person is really Negro, colored, black. That's what you're saying by doing that, and you took them to court for that. Like, that's the definition of putting your people back into slavery. Like, that truly is the main thing, because that's the whole thing. Nationality, the order of the day. They taking people to court for that, for proclaiming their nationality, making it seem as if that belongs to them, to the church, to the church. Take it, and like Todd said, and no one challenged the sellout, but then they mad at the Grand Sheik when he does it. Mad. Yeah, and then my thing is, okay, you should, because they say, oh, you should do it indoors. And then it's like, but when you go check these so-called Grand Sheiks, ones that got pills in their drawers and, and you go challenge them, they already know that they're BSing. There's no challenge. They know that they're selling out. It's going to be issues. There's no indoors or nothing like that. These people need to be put on Front Street and let everybody know. These are the ones. These are the ones. I show my son. Don't think I don't show my son. I show my son. These are the ones. You see these Moors that got walk-in mausoleums? These are the ones that killed your prophet. They got walk-in mausoleums now. The people who started off with 30,000 members. This is the reason why we in these hovels and not like this is it right here. Prophet came in 1913. Mm-hmm. I came here in 85. I was supposed to be born coming out the womb, fez on. Fez on, turban wrapped, coming out the womb. It was supposed to be done. Supposed to have been done. But the sellout, no one challenged the sellout. They got rid of the prophet and stuff became black. African American, Negroes, colored, Indians, everything but Moors. They sold out. Thousands of people sold out. Thousands, hundreds of thousands sold out.
I know.
It was crazy.
I know. This is what the sellouts can't do, right? This is what the sellouts can't do and what the sellouts want to stop. Right? This is from the Globe and Mail newspaper. This is from the Globe and Mail newspaper. Whoops. Right. Let me just say that. I lost the thing. Hold on. Okay. Temple 5, the first in Canada, often meets in members' homes where they work to undo the brainwashing of accepted European history and culture, and sometimes at community centers to hear a guest speaker from another temple or a local hip-hop artist. Music introduced Henry Graham, a 44-year-old security guard, to the religion. A friend emailed him an Iron Sheik MP3, and he became hooked on a beat and transfixed by its message. At first, I was really skeptical, but the more I read, the more it was like a puzzle and the pieces started to fit together, Mr. Graham explained one recent evening sitting at Parkdale Coffee Time near his home. It's a different perspective, and it's a perspective that makes you feel proud. The religion began more than 80 years ago, when exotically dressed men in fezzes and formidable-looking beards began to appear on Chicago's South Side, according to Susan Nance, a historian at the University of Guelph. They called themselves Moorish Americans and believed they were descendants from the Moors, or North Africans who arrived on American continent well before Christopher Columbus. At a time in history when terms like Irish American and Italian American had only begun to weave their way into the vernacular and the title African American didn't exist, calling themselves Moorish Americans offered a sense of identity absent in the labels like Negro. People been playing. Yes, religion. Yes, religion. That's the mastermind behind what Noble Drew Ali brought to these Moors. That whether you use it from a religious perspective or a national perspective, that's why it's a divine and national movement. Because you could exercise this from divine sovereignty or national sovereignty. The particular article that we just read was how the Iron Sheik brought a new faith to T.O. How the Iron Sheik brought a new faith to T.O. in the Globe and Mail newspaper. Just look up Globe and Mail newspaper, see how big that newspaper is, and then ask yourself, how the hell are they, why did they do an article on Iron Sheik and the faith that he brought to Toronto? If you think that this is a game, that we're doing this for kicks, we're doing this to get some type of, street named after us or some BS. It's about lifting the minds of the people who want it. Who doesn't want it, so do whatever it is that you want, and that's up to you. The only way you're going to read along is if you Google what, because see, this is another thing with regard to the sellout, that the sellout has created a psychology of not studying, let everything be told to you. People who sold out are pushing the perspective that you don't have to study. You have to know, you have to have the right connections and all this BS. That's why you see Grand Sheiks and all that stuff who, they get flag raisings and they get whatever. Police chief is their best friend. The mayor is their boy. Remember, he's a European colonizer. Well, they're talking about part and partial, and they're talking about partial to that. People say, wow, they got flag raising and all that stuff, and you don't realize that these people are selling you out. How come you weren't invited to the flag raising? You're a Moor. You're a national. The flag that they're raising wasn't a Moorish Science Temple flag, so how come you weren't invited? You don't think it's odd that you weren't invited to the flag raising? Right? And just for the Moors, the bucket hat's right there, but no chicken right now. It's empty. No chicken in the KFC bucket hat right now. But it's right here. It hasn't gone anywhere. You still have it.
That really bothered me too when they did that. The flag raising and didn't invite Moors.
Yep.
Like, that really set on my heart, man. Like, I was like, so this is really, really going on? Like, that's crazy, man.
Yeah. Like, that's how much of a sellout it is. And again, people aren't gonna realize and recognize, yes, it's a sellout. But don't forget, that lets you know that these people know who the Moors are. If they're going to do a Moroccan flag raising, obviously they know who the Moors are. Obviously, Moors are not delusional, because if we're delusional, then that means city of Philadelphia, city of Florida, city of whatever jurisdiction that they're claiming is a city or a state or a province or a country or whatever. And they put out some proclamation talking about Noble Drew Ali and Moors and all that stuff, and you think that they don't know who the Moors are? You're delusional. The delusional ones are the ones who won't accept this truth. The delusional ones are the ones that won't accept this truth. And the truth is just how Noble Drew Ali laid it down as reference points so you can go study.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to mention earlier when you was mentioning the 4 books. If you got, the 4 books, the Circle 7, the 101 Questionnaire, etc. If you really only have those books and you're not cross-referencing, if you gotta, you're not studying, how could you have those books only? If he's talking about Brahmin in the Circle 7, how you not gonna go find out about Brahmin in other books? You know what I mean? How you not gonna find out about other names? What's this? You just read it and kept going, huh?
Yeah.
That's the mind of a Negro. That's John D. Rockefeller, General Education Board Philosophy thinking.
Yeah.
You saw the word and kept going. I think I said it right. That's all you did. You didn't even go nothing to go see nothing about it. You didn't look it up etymology in the etymology dictionary. You didn't use the esoteric dictionary. You didn't use the unabridged dictionary. Nothing. You just looked at it and kept going.
Yep. And for Jay White, keep in mind, Jay White, that Moors live in their body. But I know, because you're a troglodyte nigger, that finite minds can't comprehend the infinite. So don't worry about you saw a Moor in a hood and you saw a Moor, but they talk like they're the Moors, but they live in a cardboard box. No, they live in their body. You, who don't have melanin in your brain and all that type of stuff, can't comprehend certain thought processes. So I get why you would be stuck at, we think we're kings, but we live in the hood, so that means we're not a king. That's definitely European psychology. Hands down. That's some European psychology. right? So all these people, Notorious B, all these people take from the Moorish community, yes. And then they package it up different and put it on their little podcast and put it on their little whatever to get people to run over to them to listen, hear, and remain confused because these people are teaching them no foundation as to what this really is.
Since 1929.
Right? They're giving people no foundation. For example, we'll go again, right? The Sibyls. Because we're going to take at least something out of this every single time we do class so you can get the point. And stop having these people play you. These African matriarchs, who were the first to institute gold coinage and to build up storefront shops, modeling after the Grand Lodge of Luxor, ancient Egypt's great library, later renamed Alexander. The patriarchs too had built one of the first libraries for developing intellectuals and students of the mystery schools. Bachofen, Bachofen, tells us that the matriarchs bore within themselves the law pervading all matter. Justice speaks out of their mouth without self-consciousness and with certainty in the manner of conscience. They are wise by nature, prophetesses, proclaiming Fate, Sibyl, and Themis. Therefore, women were considered inviolable bearers of jurisprudence and sources of prophecy. Similarly, Diner states that everything in circulation among our European astrologists and other prophetesses under the name of the Egyptian Dream Book were copied from the work of Lycian priestess of Mami Artemis of Daldis, who worked out his interpretation of some 3,000 dreams in 5 volumes during the 2nd century. All of these historic locations were where the Sibyls maintained major oracular Mami shrines. Important to note is that the ancient depiction of the ochre colored wives of the pharaoh was not a racial designation, but an ancient custom. In this practice, an African who is another clan is designated by a different hue or the path of the deity from which they descend is esoterically denoted by the color characteristic. This ritual was not originally employed to donate race. For example, ochre, usually symbolizing mother blood, was often employed to designate the lineages of the ancient Canaanite matrilineal Sibs. Now, if the Canaanites were matrilineal, and Noble Ali said we're descendants of ancient Moabites and Canaanites, Hittites, etc., then wouldn't that mean that he's teaching us to go back to our ancient foremothers and forefathers culture, which was matriarchal? Watch these dirties out here causing confusion. That's their only purpose, cause confusion. No other purpose. Do not be fooled. Do not be played because you want to be a dumbass. Do not be played. Islam to all the Moors.
Islam.
You have any closeout more?
No, it's Islam to all the jure Moors, divine Moors, non-dogmatic Moors, Islam. And for the modern European that was in the chat, you should go get numerous books on the Moors about you can get Islam and the Million Christian Slaves. You can get Luella J. Hall's book, Morocco and United States, 1776 to 1956. You can get S.P. Scott's Moorish Empire in Europe. Talks about tons of books. Talks about modern Europeans being in captivity to the Moors. So we can start off from a foundation there first.
Mm-hmm.
Can't believe more European coming here talking about you saw a Moor with a hoodie on and they living in cardboard boxes. But like, I'm glad you corrected them too. Moors live in their bodies.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes. I know there was a couple out there. Matter of fact, if anybody has any final questions, throw those out right now. We got like 10 seconds or something. 20 seconds. And see what's good. Everybody heard Noble Drew Ali carried a 45 automatic and all that stuff, but ain't nobody show you that yet. They could show you Quran and all that other stuff. They should be able to show you Drew Ali's 45. They can show you Noble Drew Ali made herbs and stuff like that and had it boxed up and bottled up with the seal, the protection seal and all that stuff. You should be able to show me something. Noble Drew Ali should have at least a picture with the 45 by the window like El Hajj or something. Like that. Something. And telling me that you heard something. Right? You're asking y'all right now, you got questions, put them up, because I already telling people, and then people got messed up. You got messed up and then forgot putting the 7 if they had a question. Yep, this is Morocco. And we had enough pale Arabs tell us that this is Morocco. So we don't need to hear jack about we're not Moroccans and all that BS, because them pale Arabs running up to me talking about am I Moroccan and all that stuff, and I'm telling them, yeah, Moroccan over here, and they're telling me Maghreb Al-Aqsa, and we're jumping around in a circle together. I'm not hearing anything anybody's saying. You guys are full of shit. Talking crazy. Oh yeah, white cargo is another good one for you, Jay White. Make sure you get those.
Yeah.
Get white cargo too, so you can learn about your history. You're not coming in this chat playing no superior position. These Moors are gonna make you ride the mare of steel. Chat mare of steel. Play around. Playing around. Stop playing. We're not them Moors. We're not them ones. All right, so it looks like nobody has no question. Why don't I see more sisters wearing fezzes than turbans? Or why don't I see more sisters wearing a fez? Is the turban more of our thing? So the temple Moors are going to tell you about, you know, Noble Drew Ali said Moors wear your fezzes and women wear the turbans, like the whatever. But he never said women don't wear a fez, and he never said brothers don't wear a turban. So that ends that. The second part of it is that okay, let's put it like this. Right? Let's put it like this. Roger Dresman makes an accurate summary about the most common type of judgments issued by the enemies of the initiation of women, synthesized into 6 sections. Physically, mentally, and intellectually, woman is inferior to man, and therefore unable to access the specifically masculine mysteries. She would never be free, in the strict sense of the word as required in the constitutions of Anderson. She could never part with religious and mystical atavistic ties. She was frivolous, vindictive, impulsive, and inconstant. She was unable to keep a secret, and a fortiori to observe the law of the Freemasonic silence. Her presence in male lodges will distract brethren from their duties and will prevent them from working seriously. To these arguments, large Freemasonic sectors added other reasons of extra Freemasonic character and reasons derived from stagnant patriarchal conceptions. So why don't you see women wearing fezzes? Because of stagnant patriarchal conceptions.
Yep.
That have found their way into a matriarchal movement.
Mm-hmm.
Because the fez represents mother. The fez represents mother. Right? Like look at the jurisdiction, right? Look at the jurisdiction, right? This is the sun. Sun, S-O-N, masculine guy. Right? This is the sun. And this is the rays of the sun. And the sun is connected to an eye. Right? An eye. Right? And then the dot on the eye. And the eye. The eye is on an earth plane. And the earth plane separated with 4 quadrants. Right? This is the earth plane. Separated 4 quadrants. And everybody knows that if this is the earth plane, earth is mother. So this represents masculine, and then this represents the being, but then this represents mother. Now keep in mind, they wear this without this. So now, if all you have is this, this is mother. How is a tassel superior to a fez? You can't use this by itself. This by itself, this is nothing. This is just some strings. Keep in mind, if this is the earth, if this is the sun, this is the sun, which one is bigger? The moon or the sun? You think that this is bigger than this? You're probably a patriarchal Moor. You need to check yourself. You think that women can't wear this?
Yep.
Once,
just like in nature.
Yep. Once the sun recognizes his little, I don't care how big you are in the universe, you're a shrimp compared to the universe. If there's suns bigger than our sun, and then all those suns are in a universe, how big is the universe to house all these suns? Because even if it's flat, every one of those domes or whatever has to have a sun there. And if Earth is like a bunch of ice cube trays, is what makes up all the worlds and the galaxies and all that stuff. All those are housed in something. And that thing that they're housed in has to be a womb, because only wombs can create, nothing else.
Islam, Green Sheet. If I can add on two things real quick.
Yeah, man.
You had mentioned the letter I, which is the ninth letter in the alphabet. Back to mother again. And then when you was breaking down the moon and the sun, like, because again, I love agriculture. People would think the main significant thing in agriculture is the importance of the sun. But the real important thing of agriculture, the most important thing is the moon. The moon is the thing that widens out the leaves of the foliage of the plant. I need the moon more, I need the moon more than the sun. Actually, the sun is a good helper, but the moon for my plants is everything I need. The moon is everything for my plants. That's what gives it the strength. It helps it grow even more. The moon does, not the sun. People would think the sun does it. It's actually the moon. Just wanted to add that in. It's always back to mama.
Yeah. Another question. How old is the Kaaba? Who is the woman buried across from the Kaaba? Why is 7 so significant? Are they teaching what you are saying in the temples? So, how old is the Kaaba? Well, if we look at the Kaaba, you'll see that the Kaaba is in a shape that didn't come from where the Kaaba is. Cubes aren't from where the Kaaba is. So that alone lets you know that that stuff didn't start there. Just like swastika didn't start with Nazis.
Nope. They caught that here in South America.
Right? Who is the woman buried across from the Kaaba? Well, when you talk about the black stone, you're talking about a portal. When you're talking about any woman, you're talking about a portal. So as soon as you marry, a portal. A set, a portal. Honey, could you go get me whatever? A portal. Portals. Things move through portals and gateways and stargates. Stuff moves through those. Will you hear this in more Science Temple? Probably not the ones that are on the religious whatever. Because if they tell it like this, then all the women will be empowered and then they'll take over and then all the stuff will be done. So we could start getting some stuff done.
Stop paying titles and membership.
This is not about titles and membership. This is about birthrights. Oh yeah, what do you say, NJ White? Put a 7 before your question so we could know what your question is, since you want me to answer you and stuff like that. Put a 7 before your question so I know that's a question, because all I'm seeing you is making comments and we have chat muftis who deal with that. So, you know, you're not going to hear anything from me. Right? Right. So, and again, you know, we're not saying don't go to the temple and none of that stuff. You know, we want you to go. You check for yourself and then come back and say, you know what? Nah, you're wrong or whatever like that. It's not like that. They teach exactly what you teach and why you done it. Or it's going to be, damn, you're right. That place is like church or whatever. See, told y'all. You know, because some Moorish temples are running properly. Some of them are doing what they're supposed to be doing. But the majority, the ones who have the name, the ones who have the popularity, the ones who can go to the mayor's office and know the police chief and all that stuff, they're not working for the people. They're working for their little lodge, whatever. That's why they don't honor mother. That's why the lodge has mother underneath the scimitar's blade. Any more questions?
Taking the head off of the mother.
Taking the head off mother. That's the Freemasons logo. Take head off mother. And then Asiatics join in that. Moorish Science Temple of America join in that and saying that's what they're about.
You know the ancient symbol, once you take the head, the body falls.
Yep.
That's why the head is the mother, not a man. Back to mother again. Why didn't they put the man underneath the scimitar?
Right.
Because she's the ruler. She's the head. She's the head. Right. Literally.
Exactly.
Once the head is off, the body falls. And that's a perfect symbol. Look at us. The body has fell.
Right. The Medu Netter. Show the temples how it's done before the world, and it's no more confusion unless you plan on bridging the gap with them. They don't want to bridge gaps. Like, they're not about bridging gaps. They would have been bridged the gap. Like, they have been bridged the gap. Right? No, we're not in competition with the Europeans. What are we competing for? They know that we're their God. They know that they're our people's demigod. But Europeans know we're their God. That's why they got ISIS carpet and stuff like that, worth 80 grand. A picture with a Moor on the wall worth 50 grand. And a figurine of a blackamoor worth $1 million. So ain't nothing to compete with. They're competing with us, actually. They're the ones competing with us.
Right.
We're not competing with no Europeans. No, I'm telling you. You go to the Pope, he's praying to a mother that looks like my mom.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Zoroastrians, they're praying to a mother that looks like my mom. So I know that we're their God. You know what I mean?
They don't even. It really wasn't even hidden. They could just
Straight
Google
up.
it. You just Google it. It's not even hidden.
Straight up. And for Rambo Canabo, no, we're not playing no Kobe Bryant's death was, in a cartoon and whatever like that. And no. All we're talking about with regard to Kobe Bryant is he dropped 80 on the Raptors. So put some respect. Put some respect on the champs. This is Canaanland. We got 81 dropped on us. Nobody else. We got it. Now that he's not here, remember that. Remember that.
And to add on too, that's the rock being thrown.
Yep.
Nationality is the order of the day.
Yeah, not Kobe's death. Kobe's death's not the order of the day.
Not Kobe's death. No.
Definitely not the order of the day. Anything to get you people away from your birthrights. And now you're sitting there watching some 5-hour whatever, somebody deciphering some Kobe death or whatever, when they've been doing that since people started dying. Like what? Like what the hell are you talking about? You still don't realize that that's a rock they just throw in the book to make you look?
Yeah.
They just made you look. They just made you look.
You was just looking at, okay, right to travel. I gotta figure out how I can, get this mortgage off. I gotta figure out, my nationality. That's what it didn't. No, can't have him do. Kobe died, and then now you're sitting there. Oh, squirrel. You're like, now you're lost. Your focus is off.
Yep.
Yeah, the rock was thrown.
And then now people are talking about. First they were talking about we're in competition with the Europeans. Now they're talking about we're stealing the Europeans' history. Make up your mind. Which one is it? Which one is it? Are we in competition? Are we in competition with them, or
are we jacking their stuff?
Or are we jacking their stuff? Which one is it? Because we can't be in competition with them and be jacking their stuff.
Right.
Come on, yo. Come on, troll. You got to do better than that, troll. Because you couldn't deal with the fact that we answered are we in competition with the European? We answered that. You got trumped, and then now you're making up some other stuff. They love to make up stuff too. They love to make up stuff. Love to make up stuff.
They kill themselves every time. Now we still go get Abdul's books, all of them. Just go get all of them.
Yeah.
Just go get all of them. It doesn't even just go get all his books.
Yeah.
Europeans don't have a history. There's no such thing as European history.
Yeah, Europeans talking about Moore stole something. You're a European. What you mean we stole something?
Go get S.P. Scott, 3-volume book. Each book is over 700 pages. It's 3 volumes. It's called The Moorish Empire in Europe.
We should pee on you, Euro. Talking crazy.
3 volumes.
Oh wow. And then now he does not troll. You fools don't even understand that you need a driver's license. Where the hell driver's license come from? We just talking about Europeans or whatever. Who sent you? Who sent you? We want to know who your leader is. We want to know who your leader is. Who sent you? Somebody sent you. Somebody sent you, troll. We know. to drive on the European streets. How is this European streets when this is in Europe? What the hell are you talking about?
Right.
What European streets? This is not Europe.
Yeah.
What European streets are in America? Name me a European street in America. What are you talking about?
Matter of fact, show me your green card.
Ah.
You got green card? You got green card? This ain't Europe.
Hey,
Where's that green card?
where's
your green card?
where's your green card?
Where's your green card? Let's start there.
Jay, where's your green card? Let's start there. Don't ask any more questions. Our question for you is, where's your green card?
This ain't Europe. This ain't
Jay,
Ireland. This ain't Germany. This ain't Italy. This ain't nothing else.
Jay, where's your green card, bro?
I want to see that. I want to
Jay,
see it.
Jay, don't let us call immigration on you, buddy. Where's your green card?
Yeah, quick. I have ISIS over there. Quick.
Send ISIS over the drain. Hey, any one of these techie bars, find out what his IP address is. Let's send the freaking ISIS over there.
Send them.
Oh, he's a citizen. I know you're a U.S. citizen. You're definitely European. You're definitely European. We know you're European. You must be CIA or something. CIA? COINTELPRO?
Right.
You're COINTELPRO, right, Jay?
Killing themselves.
Jay's COINTELPRO. Jay, you have no subscribers and no videos, Jay. Jay, how come?
One of
Jay,
those. One of those.
oh, a real question. Hold on. I study, but I do not have any women who don't think they're black around. So question, do I dishonor myself when my head is uncovered, or is that dogma? Well, with all the chemtrails and all that stuff, you might want to cover your head because it's crazy out there. Planes falling out the sky, helicopters and stuff like that. Helicopter might fall on you. Cover your head, right?
Yep.
Just cover your head just to be safe because, stuff is just weird. You know what I mean? There could be a hair virus, you know what I mean? And you want to be protected or whatever. So it's probably dogma, talking all that cover hair stuff, because, you also remember that, your hair are antennas. So they can not only receive, from the universe, but they could also receive from all these dumb niggers around you every day, all day. So you probably want to put something on your head, right? You probably want to do that. Just do it up. If your hair is long, do like the brothers from the East, put it on a bun on your crown chakra, and then wrap your turban around that or whatever, or some of the mothers connect all the energies, so they would braid their hair and then put their turban or whatever. But for the perspective of going back to our ancient foremothers and forefathers and all that stuff, yes, wear your turban, cover your head. It's not really dogma. It's more protection because of all the energies that you're going to have to deal with when you wake back up. Because you're going to wake back up, you're going to be conscious again. And then now, because you're conscious, now you have all these brothers now who all of a sudden want to be conscious, and then they're going to be flocking you or whatever like that. And then that's the actual origin of polygamy. It was women first that had multiple husbands because there's so much work for mother to do. And it was really about every man had his job. It wasn't some sexual whatever orgy BS that you see people playing around today and talking about polygamy so they can have eight wives in the same bed and all that type of stuff. That's not the same stuff.
And then post the video.
That's dogma.
So you can be the look at me guy.
Yeah, that's dogma. Right? But The covered head is broad, you know what I mean? So, you know, the covered head is really the crown. You know, the covered head is really the halo. The covered head is really, you know, you're showing your enlightenment, because if you're wearing a fez or a turban, that means you're enlightened. There's no question as to art. I wonder if you're, no, there's no question. They already know what's up when you have turban or fez on. You know, or when somebody has yarmulke on, you know exactly what they are, who they are, you know, right? Right.
Islam to the mother.
Islam to all the mothers.
Where's Jay at?
Ice got him. Ice got Jay. Ice got Jay.
The Mufti Moors work quick.
The Mufti Moors don't play. Ice work quick. Right. And I think Zone Freeman. My name is True Freeman. My husband is Zone. He is from Canada. Now, true free man implies you're not a woman. Then if you're not a woman, then how you have a husband? Unless your husband's a tranny or something like that. And then you're saying that Jay's your boy or whatever like that. You guys are... Whoa. We got some LGBTQRFEFGHIJK going on right now? Oh shit.
The whole alphabet. And they want you to answer the question too. Want you to answer that.
Yeah. No.
You got the wrong platform.
Yeah, this is not that platform. This is not that platform. We don't sway. We don't sway like that. We don't sway like that. We don't pick up the soap in jail.
No.
If you drop soap, it's all right. I'll just wipe. I'll just wipe. Yeah, we definitely know somebody sent you guys. We definitely know somebody sent you guys. You know what I mean? We definitely know.
There's a lot of trolls today.
Yeah, today is troll night or something. Troll night is going down tonight. Trolls just popping up. Crazy.
It's the continuation energy from yesterday.
And Zone Freeman is a Moor, Moore, and a sovereign citizen. Whew. Oh wow. You must really have this locked down. You must really have this locked down.
They're called Ice.
Hey Zone, don't let us do you like the Raptors and drop 81 on you right now.
Real quick.
In memory of Kobe. We'll drop a quick 81 on you, Zone. Not playing around. Felice Johnson in the building. So with 13 Masonic temples recently closed, I wonder why. Wow, wonder why. Maybe they're realizing that it's time to go home. Moors are back. What are we doing here?
Yep.
Moors are back. Moors are back. We're here. Yep. Stall them out.
People uncomfortable.
Yeah, once they get uncomfortable, you know how they do. They just pack up and they're out. They don't play around that stuff about try to fix stuff and all that. They're out.
What Dr. Jose Pineda Bay say? They start moving around in their
Start moving
in that chair.
Start moving around in their chair. Feel all uncomfortable. Damn, he knows these are more. He knows these are more. Damn, oh damn. What hood are we from? We're from the body hood. We're from the body. We're from the body hood. The hood called body. That's the hood that we're from. Yeah, I know you guys are some sucky trolls. You guys trolling sucks. You guys trolling sucks. Who sent you guys?
We talk about that all the time too. We be like, yo, they gotta do better.
Yeah. You guys are. They should fire you guys. You guys should be fired.
Guys who sent you.
Yeah. Send the guys who sent you.
Them.
Yeah, send the guys who sent you, because you guys are washed up. Washed up. You guys are washed up. It's love to all the Moors. We want to give thanks to the dirty Moors and the fudge packer, sovereign citizen Moors, and
M-O-O-R-E.
The M-O-O-R-E, sovereign citizen Moors, and the Europeans who don't have a visa, and
all of that. All of that.
All that. Peace to y'all for giving us a little extra. Another question. Question: is a Freemason a specialist in a particular science and Moorish science? If so, why not incorporate your own specialists? The Freemason, the free mother son is a specialist in Moorish science. The free mother son knows that their shrine is in honor of the Moors. That's why they wear fezzes. That's why all their stuff is called Arabic names and ancient Egyptian names, because these people honor North Africa. But, they're just a specialist. They're just a specialist. Just like the mechanic, he's a specialist. But you're only a specialist for cars. What kind of mechanic are you? Well, I'm a motorbike mechanic. Well, that's all you're a specialist in. No, well, I got, driver and then the truck and then now you're talking about you're a different level specialist. Now, those specialists could only go to 90-something degrees. We have 360, 720 degrees of knowledge. They only have 90-something. So what do you mean incorporate what? They only have 90 degrees of 700-something. We as Moors have 700-something. What are we incorporating from them to our stuff?
And to add on to that too, they bring Moors inside the so-called Freemasonic temples to teach them. Yep. Abdullah goes into Prince Hall lodges to
teach the Freemasons, the Black Masons, about this is their birthright, not some Masonic whatever. Just go look up Abdullah El Talib Mozi Bey, Moors and Masonry. There's some lectures and stuff like that you'll get a great perspective.
And he's in there giving them the true science of Masonry.
Going to them to give it.
Because they're what specialists. Freemasons in there playing goalie soccer and pool.
Right? Yeah. They're not no specialists of anything. They only got 90 degrees.
remember, and Brother C. Freemanel, he said it back in the 90s. He was going into Freemasonic lodges teaching the Masons. This is in the 90s. They look for Moors to come in here and teach them because they know they're not getting the true science.
Right.
Because they're in the back pockets of the colonists. The colonists are going to give them the true science.
Exactly. Exactly. Just don't let them play. And we know you 6 trolls. Either go thumbs up or thumbs down or something. Trolls. And just be in here doing nothing. Islam to all the Moors worldwide. Give thanks to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali for everything that he did, bringing us out of darkness into the marvelous light. Islam to the Prophet. Peace and love to all Moors. Don't forget tomorrow night, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. We'll be right here once again. Tomorrow we might do Q&A day. So get your questions. If anybody's watching this later and you got time tomorrow, 7 p.m., and you got questions, send your questions. Canaanlandguide@gmail.com. Canaanlandguide@gmail.com. Or you could be right here in our chat. But don't forget, we have chat muftis. So if you talk crazy, you might get something that you don't like, and then you're going to start talking about people are, bothering you, and we're not telling the truth and whatever like that and whatever. So, Islam to all. And to all, a good night. And don't forget, honors to Kobe Bryant for dropping the 81 on the Raptors, giving us inspiration to be great. And give thanks to all the people who've been supporting. We appreciate you. And as well, we appreciate the real friends of Kobe Bryant who knew him and sat with him and talked with him, sat on his bed and his couch and stuff like that. Those people are the morning people. If he just inspired you to shoot some basketball or something like that, stop the BS. Because your grandma who died or whatever, you haven't even thought about her. You haven't even thought about her in a little while. Your little friend that got shot up at the whatever, that you made a shirt for him, that's all freaking pictures disappeared and he's still holding on to some shirt and all that stuff. You haven't thought about him forever. So let those who really knew him mourn, and everybody else stop the BS. Stop it. You want to honor him?
Shedding tears over a tribute to Kobe because of a basketball, man.
Come on, yo. Let's get real. Like, yeah, he was a great player and all that stuff, but stop the BS. Only people who knew him.
It's basketball.
Right? Not the guy who sat next to him, took a picture and said, hey, selfie, me and Kobe in this picture together. I knew him. Not them people. Right? And yeah, there might be some fans who are there might be some fans who are really fans, you know what I mean? And they really whatever, they really touched the hem of his garment and they were inspired. Right? But majority of people, you guys are playing. Stop the BS. You don't know him like that. Go put down your flowers and go about your business. Because you should have given him his flowers while he was here. So stop the BS with filling up the place with flowers that these people are just going to pick up and throw in the garbage anyways. Stop it. Killing plants for no damn reason. Just killing flowers just because.
Death is a friend.
Death is a friend, not an enemy of man. Why are you mad? Mourning. Rejoice. He doesn't have to deal with you niggers anymore. He's free from you people. You energy vampire ass niggas. Free from you. All you put the scimitar over the Moabite's head niggas. Know who you are. That's why we give honors to him for laying down the law. Laying down the law. Mordians.
Lamism developed in Tibet in the Tang dynasty and then passed into Mongolia and northeast China. Lamaism is the Buddhism practiced in Tibet. This type of Buddhism is the Indian Mahayana Buddhism, intermingled with elements of Asian Tibetan religion. High person indicates great stature in the Buddhist religion, a noble man of much wisdom and good works, standing higher than all others. Therefore, a high person, a Tibetan Buddhist Lama, is like the abbot in Chinese Buddhism. Abbots are the monks instructors. They pass on their wisdom in the same way as any other type of teacher. The abbot.
Step down from me 13 step. Stranger, who's black here, take first step. Won't save you, KRS is my nature. Then correction papers, I'm a motherfucking savior. Hey, give thanks to my maker, not just high. See you later to my haters. Keep it up and drop a planet on these traders. Easy fuck, got full principle. The fifth is just, we damn government, it's not us, the people. Me, the mama, the papa, come first. Find them within the internal compass. Jump on the llama when the industry holds from the drama when it starts back up. More's on top where we are to this world more than just, hey, what's up for the slaughter? The abbot, the panda. Nobody grander, the stature, Prophet Noble to Ali is the answer.
The abbot, the abbot, the abbot.
Yeah.
The abbot, the abbot. A noble man, and much wisdom, and good works, The abbot.
Our abbot brought us Islamism, no disunity or divisionism. He never died. We survived the great schism, avalanche, lies, and libel. He made us national, not tribal. Impropria persona, don't throw away your Bible. Affirm, never swear, matriarch, not rival. Honors to the mothers, these are menstrual cycles. To make wage title, I'm his disciple. Teachings of our abbot needs to go viral. We recycle, Quran questions, recital, chakra spiral, lower self stifle, so delightful. Awaiting higher self arrival. Trained us to be mental fittest for survival. Gave up the slave tag for ancestral titles. Back from the dead when the abbot tapped my spinal. Not the heavy metal band, but the path of the left hand.
The abbot, the abbot, the abbot. The abbot, the abbot. A noble, and much wisdom, and good work, The abbot.
Developing inner self is like building physical muscle. Even when we're physically still, we never spiritual hustle. Must you? Cannot prefer answers and lessons. Been in sessions with those that develop spirit like professions. The message is trust thyself. The more we know, balance with the more that we know there's more we don't know. Gotta grow still. Decay's the only other option. I don't like that feel, so I cut and connect with real. Not just to heal, thrive. To escalate our inner state. Once focused on survive, we better now we rise. Divine plan, harmonizing my logic and inner man. Stand still, listen to inner voice, articulate real. Fulfillment of the goal of oneness is truly silence. Inner outer self is one. No plus, no minus, or minus. MYND or harmonization. Physical and spiritual and us creations waiting.
The abbot, the abbot, the abbot. The abbot, the abbot.
Yeah.
A noble, and much wisdom, and good work, The abbot.
It's a journey for whoever's worthy to learn themselves and not to occupy behaviors early. It's still a controversy. Flat earth, round earth, who the first people? They try to calculate a formula to keep you equal. But I am the nemesis to all you supremacists, putting all the emphasis to crush all your benefits, distorting what was relevant, tracing back to Genesis. The proof is in the pudding. We impeach more than presidents. Still we take your precedence, uplifting humanity. Since now you dirty Moors, standing with you begging me. Year 193, 3-3 was a tragedy, a blessing in the same breath. Removing all the chains from the brain, so plain left. Never disappear, it's a surgery from this plain flesh. Student always learning, this is certain, I am shameless. The average to the abba, we going through the same test, same test. The abba, the abba, the abba. The abba, the abba. I know, as much wit, and good work, The Abbott said don't board the mission, never waited for the course decision. Escape from this corporate fiction, sometimes high, sometimes low, face in and out, constant switching, different route, avoid the friction, watch your mouth, change your ditches, status out, the jurisdiction, we about, most on listen, build this house, my solar system, begin to stop, we in remission, got no doubt, my prophet's mission, my prophet's vision. I know the Abbott, the Abbott, the Abbott, the Abbott, the Abbott.